Member of Parliament for Okai-Kwe Central is Patrick Yabuama. Also Member of Parliament for Ododo-Diodio, Ni Lante Vanderpuye. I did promise that he would tell us about something.
He's a deputy minister.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Good morning, gentlemen.
He's doing the work I used to do.
Good morning.
He's collecting all the refuse and the waste in Accra.
You are the local, sanitation.
Don't follow this member of the Kwesiboche committee.
He's at the sanitation ministry.
You'll be misled by a member of
Shouldn't we have a conversation on that, on what you've been doing so far?
Yeah, we'll tell you. But,
Accra is very dirty.
Accra is still very dirty.
Not when we are being told that reports are fake.
Accra is still very much dirty.
Yeah, we are working on it.
So the report on sanitation is fake.
There's no report yet.
There is a report on very bad sanitation in Accra.
We told the whole world about our strategy and plans that we are putting in place. You know, it's a new ministry.
But I feel like you're still telling us things you intend to do.
No.
But by now, we want to see something.
There's action, and you feel it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have that conversation. But I want us to start with Kenya, because there's that rerun of the August elections happening now. The main opposition leader is out of this election, except that his details are still on that ballots. What is being recorded now is that there's very tight security and there's low turnouts as well. Any few words you want to share on Kenya before we talk about our own homegrown issues?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers and my constituents in Okai-Kwe Central. Kenya, it's a very strong economy in Africa, and the happenings in Kenya affect the very growth of the African continent in every aspect of our life. About 10-15 years ago, His Excellency Kofi Annan, President Kufuor, and a group of eminent African leaders were part of that group that reorganized the Kenyan democracy and put it back on track after that election that led to the loss of lives and property in Kenya. The whole world was happy with what happened and the achievement of Kenya in the area of economic growth and democracy till these recent elections. You recall that our immediate past Chief Justice, Justice Georgina Chodera-Wood, spent months in Kenya to reorganize the whole judicial system in Kenya. But what are we seeing? The last election was challenged in the Supreme Court, with that annulled the election results. It has led to the fleeing of some election officials. Bodyguards of justices of the court are being shot, and what have you. People have died innocently. I believe that is an unfortunate situation on the African continent, especially when everybody feels that when it gets to the period of election, we don't have things right and we don't put in place the right measures. It sends the wrong signal to the wider world, especially when we are the same people who go out there to look for investors. It doesn't send the right signals, and I think we've got to get the whole thing right. We have to put democracy on the #1 agenda for every country. We must respect the institutions of state when it comes to elections and ensure that we get a confidence of the global community, especially in the area of democracy and election. Because if you want an investor to come into your country to support your economic growth, they will just check you out, find out that, oh, there was election, there was violence, your institutions are not working, your judiciary is in disarray. So when I bring my money or bring my expertise and I encounter challenges, how am I going to remedy the situation, especially when you don't have a solid judicial system? So it's a case that every country in Africa must look at and reorganize itself. It sends a wrong message across the world.
Just on the side, is Peter McMenu in Kenya?
Peter McMenu at the moment is in Burkina Faso.
Okay.
And he's doing some good job for the good people of Ghana. As chairman of GAPOA, he's in Burkina Faso with his team at a conference, and he's back tomorrow.
Nowhere close to Kenya. Thank you for answering that, though. Mr. Vanderpuye, I kind of fear what would happen after today, really, in Kenya. There's a lot of instability. We're not sure how this is going to go.
Well, thank you very much. First, let me say good morning to our viewers and especially to the people of Gamashi, and to say we are in trying moments at this moment in time, but I will take the opportunity to ask everyone to exercise patience and caution, and also to maintain the peace that we've enjoyed over the years. And then when I became Deputy Minister for Local Government, I was still going to Kenya because I became Vice President of UN Habitat.
Okay.
All these two institutions, the African headquarters is in Kenya. Apart from them, there are so many other international bodies who have their African hub in Kenya. Kenya has occupied a very important, let me say, administrative and political place as far as African relationship with the rest of the world is concerned. UN does a lot of things in Kenya. Apparently because of the stability of the political system in that particular part of the continent for a long time during the time of Jomo Kenyatta and Arap Moi. Unfortunately, recent events have really eroded some of these achievements and landmarks of Kenya. Kenya is a thriving economy when it comes to civil service structure, public service structure, agro-industry, and agribusiness. I went to Kenya, and when I came back, I had a chat with Madam Chikata, Mrs. Chikata, over this export of flowers and horticulture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yes, Kenya is making a lot of money from horticulture.
They make $1 million a day.
So that's what led to this Flora Festival and all those things, so that we'll see whether we could learn from them. And also, so the first ever one which was organized, they brought experts from Kenya. So it's a pity that when they are already battling their own internal security problems with the insurgents of Al-Shabaab and the rest, political instability should also come in. And like my brother said, the difficulties that they encountered the last time and the efforts that African heads of state made in order to ensure stability should have been enough to say not anymore. What is happening now is very unfortunate. And like you said, I'm praying that today's election will go on peacefully. This morning when I was monitoring the news, and I've started hearing that there are always skirmishes in Kibera. Kibera is possibly the biggest slum in the whole world.
And also the stronghold,
the stronghold of the opposition. And when I went to Kibera, I thought that I had a slum in Old Fadama, you know, until I went to Kibera. As part of UN Habitat, we went there to see what UN Habitat was doing there. And I was amazed because I have seen Soweto, I've seen the blue fields in Zimbabwe. But when I got to Kibera, I said, wow.
You've arrived.
Yes. So and these are vulnerable people, people who are already living a very distressed life. So if we don't control and they explode, it will be serious for us. The consequences for Kenya, the investment and the whole of Africa, as my brother said, will be there for us. So every African should be concerned about what is happening in Kenya. And I pray that the cool heads will prevail, and whatever be the outcome. Already, the main opposition leader has pulled out. But as you said, he pulled out too late because everything is on the ballot. So people may vote for him. And I don't know whether he can have another, that's a senior lawyer, I don't know whether he can have another chance at the Supreme Court again.
Well, interestingly, the Supreme Court was supposed to sit yesterday and
only two of the justices
rule on a possible hold of this election. And then only two, and they were supposed to have at least 5 sit on this particular issue, and then only 2 showed up.
Yeah,
the
so
other 3 gave various excuses.
Today, there is nothing that can
Yes.
place an injunction on the election. So the election will go ahead.
Yes, it is
and
going ahead.
Whatever be the result, unless there are any grounds for annulment again, it will pertain. But you see, I was looking at the list. I said, look, whatever it is, Raila Odinga should have said, look, even though I'm not happy, let it go. Because you've already lost the parliament. He's lost the councils. You know, they practice a federal system.
So it's going to be difficult to rule.
It was going to be very difficult for him, even if he had won, to rule. So I thought that he could use that as a leverage for next elections. But I think age is also not on his side. And it's going to be very difficult for him. But like Pat said, this should be a cause for worry for all of us, and it should also be a lesson for the whole of Africa to see how we can build upon, especially our democratic institutions, to make them be able to withstand the shocks that come after elections. Ghana has been an example, and I think that in spite of the challenges that we've encountered, we've been very, very accommodating. We've gone to court in this country. The verdict has come out. Both sides have accepted. We've gone through the system. Elections have come. Somebody else is in power. Successively, we are building upon it. And I'm sure that we should be an example. I'm praying that we also do not at any point in time, because I always say that, look, whoever thought that Kenya would degenerate into this level would have been called demonic some time ago. We've seen it in Cote d'Ivoire. We've seen it in other more secured and stabilized political systems. So I'm praying that we should not take ours for granted. Always strive to maintain the things that will go to stabilize our system.
All right. Okay. Just to also add that, in Nigeria, they're also considering doing something that we, have done. So, more big ups to Ghana. Nigeria is now, deliberating on making prisoners vote in elections.
But
let's
as
talk
we
about
Kenya. We should also look at what is happening just close door.
Togo.
It's so bad. I've seen certain things on social media, and I don't think in this modern day, where civilization has got into, in this 4G world, those things, we are now 5G. Those things should be happening. It is totally inhumane. It's inhuman, and I couldn't say. And I think the International Court of Justice should be able to cause an investigation into this, and the perpetrators of this act must be dealt with, because you cannot use machetes to be butchering people because of protests. It is bad.
Sure. I want us to come back home, and I want to give a bit of background. Now we're talking about the Ghana state affairs. Just as the Daily Graphic has nicely put it for us in today's edition, and I'm reading from their write-up. And this is in the story. It's given a background to what's been happening. In February this year, the kingmakers of the Abolapiam way of the Ghana state installed Abolapiam. Okay. Installed Ni Taki Obli as the Gamanche, bringing to 4 the number of claimants to the stool since the demise of Gamanche. Boni Ni Amugi II in 2004.
Boni Ni Amugi.
It looks like I've been living in Accra, but I have to relocate and go to Gamashi or something. Okay, so the kingmakers indicated that Niobli was the legitimate chief of the Ga state, thereby nullifying the reign of the late King Takitaria II, known in private life as Dr. Joe Blankson, and the current Ga Manche, Boni Ni Taki Adama Latse II. Aite Canada, now deceased, and Dr. Kelvin Taki Abia also laid claim to the stool. According to Neokai, Osia Hene IV, the stool father of the Abolapiam way.
Abolapiam.
Okay.
Abolapiam.
Their action was precipitated by the fact that they represented the White House to nominate and install a chief for the Ga state after the demise of Ni Amugi. So I'm just going to end it here because fortunately, you come from the area. I mean, you are a proper Ga man. And I'm not going to leave Mr. Buama out of it because it cuts across.
He's the MP for the
so
area.
today we've got the right guest in the studio to discuss this issue. How come we have more than one Ga, Mantse?
Mama B, first let me say I'm sad and I feel really bad what is happening in my community and amongst my people. I was in UK having a meeting with the Ga community on how to solicit help for our community, Gamashi. When this news broke, people shed tears. One gentleman just lamented that he wished God has not created him a Ga. It's so sad, it's so disgraceful, and I feel so indicted. However, I think that God Almighty knows that these things would happen and has chosen me to be one of the leaders of the community at this time. So I will take the opportunity to say that we will do our best and we pray for God's wisdom and direction to be able to surmount this problem.
Can I just understand one thing? The Ga Mantse, is he the paramount chief of the Ga traditional area?
Let me say this. Historically, the Gans, we do not have chiefs. The Jews that we are, we were led by our priests. So when we're sojourning to this place, we were led by our chief priests. But when we encountered battles, you know, like the Jews, the chief priest doesn't go to war. So the Asafwacheme, the warriors, the warlords, led us. But in our sojourn historically, we settled in Dahomey and other places, and we saw them practicing kinship. So the first person who led us to this place, because the Asene people were then the first group of people, you know, we were in families, in clans. The leader of the Asene group, which is Neokakwe at that time, became the obvious choice to lead us to our settlement. And if you care to know, the Gans settled in so many places before finally settling in Gamashi. You know where we call Ewutu? We call it Obutu. The Gans call it Obutu. So when you go to those areas around Ewutu, you see a lot of Gans there. Around, you hear names like Tete, Sake, Alote, and all those things. Through Ashwenangmo and all those places, Bodriase, and all those, up to we settled here. So in the transition, we copied some of the chieftaincy traditions of the other tribes we met, especially the Akwamus and other people. So chieftaincy is a bit alien to us, but we've tried. So all these that are happening certainly should have happened because the Gans, we are unique. In the sense, Mamavi, if I mention my name, in the Ga man will know my clan, will know my family house, and will know who gave birth to me. This is unique about the Gans. If Patrick mentions his name, Patrick, there will be a problem. If he says Buama, it will be difficult for you to tell whether he is an Ekweapim, Ekwewu, or an Ashanti in the first instant, unless you ask further. But with the Gans, if somebody says he's called Taki, you know the clan he comes from, and you know the family he comes from.
So why has it been very difficult to...
Yeah, so and naturally it shouldn't have been difficult for us to be able to settle on issues like chieftaincy.
Okay, but back to the question I asked. So the Ga Mantse, is he the overall, you know, paramount chief?
It's just like what we have other places like in the Ashanti Kingdom, where the Ashanti is the king of all the clans.
Okay.
And in the Ga tradition, the Ga Mantse is also the king of all the other paramounts and all the other clans.
But we don't feel that kind of unity.
Because we don't feel that because our strength have been dissipated by political authority. Because the political headship is also in Accra, takes something away from the traditional authorities. And throughout our interaction with the colonial government and the colonial administration, seriously,
so you become more political.
No, the erosion of our strength, traditional strength, has become very obvious. And the capital has also made Accra a bit more cosmopolitan, if I say even more cosmopolitan. And as such, various other traditions and cultures have been integrated into the Ga custom, diluting the strength of our custom.
So you're a member of parliament for Dodo. You sit at the hearts of
I carry the burden.
So who is Gamanche today?
As we say today, if you ask me who is Gamanche, I will mention one name. That is not being biased. I'm being truthful and objective. The recognized Gamanche as today is Ni Bone Latse Adama. He's the one who has been recognized after all the legal battles, has been gazetted, and has been inducted into the House of Chiefs at the regional and the national level. There are legal cases pending, but I'm saying that what has happened, those who have championed what has happened are rather muddying the waters instead of helping us maintain peace. Because my point is that even if we have any reservation or you have a problem with the procedures that were used to install Latse Adama, the courts are there, the judicial committees of the regional House of Chiefs are there. Pursue those litigations. When you have exhaustively come to conclusions, judgments have been given, then we all know what to do. But when you, the same person, is pursuing a legal action, you are in the process of litigating, you, this same person, do not turn around to go and install a rival chief. You understand the problem we are encountering now? You've gone to court to fight a system. Allow the judicial process to come to a conclusion, to come to a determination. You don't just bypass the system you have initiated to install another chief. I am not a kingmaker. I'm not a judge. I'm not a panel member. So I don't know what the final resolution of the cases involving Latse Adama would be. But for now, it's the one we have recognized. So why don't we pursue the cases against his installation? And then when we have come to a conclusion peacefully, if he's supposed to be there, fine. If he's not supposed to be there, then he gets out and the right person comes. So why do you install another?
Let me get your take on all that's been happening, because you're also
I'm a Ga man.
See?
He speaks better Ga. He speaks better Ga than Chief.
Please, are you from Gamashi?
I'm from
by affiliation.
Niboy way from Abeka.
Okay.
Niboy.
So we are part of that.
So please, who is our Gamanche?
Fine, Naka Sane. Fine. It saddens me when the people that I've lived with throughout my life encounter such problems. Because I have a lot of Ga friends. I speak Ga. I'm an Abeka Zongo boy. Niboy way. I go there, I play. I go to Gamashi, Teshi, everywhere. Then you ask yourself, what is happening to the beautiful city of Accra? Everybody comes and, oh, we've installed new chief. There's a Gamanche. You go to the stadium and people are asking you, honorable, mini ya no. We had a track in Accra, Mankota Mankono. Do you know the Mankota Mankono? Oh,
double-decker buses.
Double-decker buses. So it's like we are compounding the issues.
Yeah.
There has to be the Ga state. It's a beautiful state. Has about 7 clans. They understand each and everyone's role in the Ga state. from Otublo home to Basi and what Basi,
Abola,
Sempe. There are 7. You are surprised I'm mentioning them to you. But the girls must realize that it's about time for them to take leadership in this country. Because every president lives with them. Their request will be honored. But when there's this kind of disunity within the Ghana state, you cannot get the kind of development that Accra requires or Ghana require. Projects like urban regeneration must be the driving force or quest for the Ghana state. Because if you go to Gamashi, any serious investor will want to regenerate the community. And I know the Brazilians are interested in that. But with this problem, who will bring that quantum of money to come and change Accra? Go to the waterfront. There are problems. But that is where the money is. The tourism that we talk about, that is where it is. The fishing harbors that we talk about, that is where you can find them. But nobody will go there and develop those places when you have such problems. So, Mamabi, as for me, I'm a small boy in the Ghana state. I love the Ghans. I do everything with them.
But you don't know who the Gamanche is.
This is a matter pending before the courts. And as a lawyer, I will not comment on it. Suffice to say that, look, I'm begging and pleading with the Ghana state. The elders of the Ghana state, please sit down. There are a lot of respected Ghanaians, rich people, exposed people. They've seen the world. They want the Ghana state to be like any other state in the world. So my humble plea is that, please, Nefane,
how is it affecting your constituency, by the way?
See, my constituents, they are from Asre, so definitely they belong to one of the clans. They go to meetings in Accra. They tell me the happenings. They are not happy. Because if Abeka is not happy, it affects Achimota, Niboy Man, Akwete Man, and all those places. And it also hinders on development, especially when the president wants to create some 10 new districts and municipalities in Accra to further develop and decentralize the Ghana state, the greater Accra region, let me put it that way. So we need the support of every Ghana. Nilante, I know, is suffering.
I want to ask you, because you know, Ododio is right there. How is it affecting livelihoods? How is it affecting everyday life?
Yesterday, for example, I was able to ask a question in Parliament. Just when Speaker entered, I had to run because I was told that the people were using machetes and things in the area. I have to run in there. When I got there, I saw people throwing stones and bottles and all. It's people were injured. A lot of people were injured. You have to go to the hospital. You have to spend money. You have to. It puts so much stress on you. I couldn't sleep yesterday because every other minute my phone will be ringing. So it's a whole, and I'm saying that those people who have engineering and funding this are sleeping in their houses, peacefully enjoying their wives and possibly the girlfriends. Then
laptops.
and then we have to, spend sleepless nights trying to resolve the problems they have come to cause.
Can this ever be resolved? I mean, this whole chieftaincy.
I should think so. You see, when Patrick was speaking, I was just laughing in my head. The people who are causing the problem are the most educated ones. Who should be the people to know what is right and wrong? I'm telling you.
But what's their interest? What's their interest really?
Professors and They are the people causing the problem.
What's their interest? If you get the place destabilized, I mean, what do you stand to gain?
Do you know why they are doing all this? To get the opportunity to be selling the lands. What else?
Is it true that most of the tenures have expired?
A lot.
The leases.
A lot.
So
a lot. But you see, the funny aspect of it is that the Gamanche, as a person, the position is ceremonial. With the gas, ownership of even lands are in the names of families and clans.
And even quarters. And even quarters.
You understand?
Quarter land.
You understand? For example, Abeka, the whole of Abeka lands is under Sine. And even under Sine, we have other aspects of us, other families and houses within Asine who own certain portions of land. So the Gamanche cannot use his power to arrogate any land to anyone, because his family owns only a small portion of the whole land. And it's sometimes I also say it's prestige. Well, fine. That there's a national ceremony, you go and sit there as Gamanche. In Accra, that's all. What again? It is not like, and because you don't also have right ownership to things, you don't even get the sort of royalties that others get. You understand? So you virtually live on the support and the remittances you get from the assembly and other other people who come to show you or pay you homage.
Maybe the corporate entities.
Yes.
In your
but then unlike other stools where you occupy a position, you command some royalty and all those things, and there's something.
You know what is interesting in Accra? Not too long ago, when the issue surrounding the Otumfuo came up, and when Otumfuo returned, because he was out of the country then, when he returned at the airport, I mean, it was massive support on the streets. I mean, it became a whole, like we're hailing our kin and we're asking you those who are making all sorts of allegations and everything, there was this unity, there was support and love. And then you turn the other way and then you come to Accra and like everything is like that.
You think when Otumfuo was being installed, I remember I'm so happy to say that I did live commentary, then I was at GBC. I did live commentary for 12 hours.
Wow.
Yes, 12 hours non-stop on Otumfuo. I could see the dignity, the aura surrounding.
And I understand it's not even in the person, it's in the stool he sits on. Yes,
let me tell you, some time ago, historically some time ago, when Otumfuo is coming to Accra, he will stop at Pilenyo and send emissaries to seek permission from the Gamanche before he enters. And the rites will be performed to cleanse him of anything that he is bringing onto the Garland. So that should tell you how powerful the Gan state used to be.
You lost it.
I thank you very much.
In 2004, Otumfuo visited Niamugi before he passed.
Yes.
And Otumfuo has a relationship with the Gan state.
Yeah.
And Asante, if you go back into history, the Asante Kingdom became part of Ghana. So even if you look at the Chieftaincy Act, it talks about the Asante Hene and paramount chief. So the Asante Hene is put at a certain level.
Yeah.
And he was talking about royalties. You see, the way you carry yourself, the way you organize your kingdom brings confidence. The kind of things Asante does for the Ashanti Kingdom and Ashantis and Ghanaians at large always puts him in a position of respect and dignity, so that he's able to connect with governments, with the international community. He's invited everywhere to participate in issues. Otumfuo Asante, Otumfuo said to the second, got funding from the World Bank through when the president of the bank was James Wilkinson, $25 million. You see, so how you carry yourself.
Oh, wasn't it because, okay, this is not
let
big.
me tell you.
That he plays golf?
No.
Look, what Patrick is saying
Golf has nothing to do with it because of the way he carries himself.
What Patrick is saying is embodied.
Yeah.
What Patrick is saying is embodied in our own language.
It's a very great king. Everybody knows that.
It's embodied in our own language. Do you know what the guy say? The way you present yourself is the way people.
So can you, because we've got an excellent example in the Ashanti Kingdom, if you like, the institution. Yeah. Can we ever, as Ga, get there?
Yes, if people want to think like the way I think. If people who want to be truthful to themselves, want to be objective, and we want to focus on the things that will bring us together and advance us, than self-seeking, personal, myopic, parochial, capricious interest.
Are we going to see you raise any of these issues on the floor of Parliament?
Yes, yesterday
do we want the other arms of government to come in, to get involved in this?
You see, the issue of chieftaincy is also a bit very emotional and also very, let me say, very sensitive. So yesterday I discussed it with my leadership and our caucus, the Greater Accra caucus. Because of how technical it is, I want it to be bipartisan caucus. I conferred with Titus yesterday to see whether we can get Patrick and all the MPs in Greater Accra to come out to issue a statement that will not seem to be political by bypass, so that we issue a statement on what is happening, because whatever is happening in Gamashin will automatically affect Patrick.
Yes, so this morning the MPP Greater Accra caucus, we have a meeting at 11.
Yeah, we also having ours at 10.
Okay.
So that when we finish, we'll come together as a Greater Accra caucus and issue a statement on what is happening, so that we try and see whether we ourselves as MPs can show leadership by intervening. We are not saying we are intervening to say who is king or who is not king, but see how together with the security services, because let me also say it here, I want to plead with the IGP. The security are using a bit more of high-handedness in the approach. Look, like yesterday, the Abu Lapian people also have a legitimate reason why they should organize a press conference, because they are claimants to the stool. But if they are organizing their press conference, when somebody was doing his inauguration and induction, nobody touched them, because police provided them with security. You understand? And then somebody is organizing his press conference, then you send people to go and attack them. And then the police end up rather arresting the people who are organizing a legitimate press conference. It doesn't augur well. So when we have put all these things together, then the police will also know how they should handle the situation in order for them not to be seen as being partisan and biased in what is happening. Because so far the sentiments are rising, tension is building, because some people have a feeling that they are being muzzled. And the whole thing is not, because you see, what is even agitating a lot of people, Mama V, and I'm saying it here, the police did not do well. Look, you've locked up the palace because of disturbances that happened somewhere around March. So what was the reason why the police opened up the palace for inauguration of somebody? Was there a court order? Was there any other instruction from somewhere? Because there is somebody on the stool who occupies the palace, but because of a disturbance, you, the police, ask the person that for his own safety, we want to lock up the place. So move. So the person moved from the place. You lock up the place. Why should you then open it up for another person to occupy? What was the basis? Who authorized that? The police must answer us.
Is that why you seem to read some political hand dealings?
No, I will not read politics into this.
Okay.
I will not. But I'm saying that people, for example, the IGP must be able to tell me why the police allowed that. Who issued the instruction? Because the police may have done that under certain instructions. So who did? And these are the things, if there are political elements behind it, I would say, look, these are the things we do which degenerate and degrade what we do as politicians. I say today,
right, so
look, whether Patrick is the Gamanche or Mamavi is the Gamanche, it will not change my position as an MP. Because the Gamanche will not campaign for me. You understand? Well, and in my party, I have people who belong to the various groups. I'm telling you, I have people in my party who support Latse Adama. I have people in my party who support the Abola PM people, what they are doing. I have people in my party who support Kevin Taki. You understand? So, I have people in my party who support the late Joe Blanson. You understand? So it doesn't matter to me who is what we do is what will let people understand that as leaders, that's why it's important that we issue a statement as a caucus to let people know that we don't support politically, we don't support what is happening. And
we'll be looking forward. Yeah, we'll be looking forward to that. But thank you for this conversation. You know, for the insights. But Nilante Vanderpuye, you're also a member of the Kwesi Botche committee. That committee that went around.
When I came, you only gave me a cup of tea, but you're making me talk too much on this issue.
Almost. So, you know, this is the final,
the
just a few minutes.
Fake report.
So you've had a lot of things. Do you have a copy of the reports, though? The over 400-page documents.
Yes.
How many pages, the executive summary?
The executive has about 87.
87. Okay. So who has it in the party?
The General Secretary and the National Chairman of the party took hold of the original report and the executive summary, which were presented to them by the chairman of the committee.
But members of how many members the committee, the Kwesi Botche? 13. So what makes the NDC think that no other person can get hold of a document that really amongst the members and even within the party, a few people have...
Let me make this point clear here. There's no way the report could have gone into the hands of anybody who is a member of the committee before we present it.
What makes you think so?
Because the membership of the committee are men and women of integrity. We swore to uphold the virtue of our office, and we put in a lot of security measures because we have one of the best security brains in this country, a member. Put in one of the best security measures to ensure that these things do not filter into the public domain before we finish our work. And when we finish our work too, we did make sure that we have handed it over to the appropriate people who commission us to do the work. And so we know what we did and we know what we handed over.
You are the lawyer, so I'll leave the questioning to you.
As for me, I'm just a member of parliament.
You don't have a copy of
it? I don't, but I read and I listen to...
They say it's fake news.
You read the fake reports.
Whether it's fake or not, I read.
You will fail
and I know that prior to the 2016 general elections, we were told that the NDC was the most united party in this country, and the MPP was very divided and could not win and manage this country. Now, a united party loses an election, the incumbent president loses by 10 percentage points, a report, fake, credible or not, which we are all reading and enjoying the various aspects and
it's in your interest to enjoy.
Describing the former president as a movie star and Nick. I don't know if that is the reason why Latse and Co don't want to release a report. As NDC is a political party established under the laws of this country, and Ghanaians have a right to know the happenings in the NDC. As an alternative party to the New Patriotic Party.
Why don't you leave that to us, since you're so colored? So that
I'm colored, and I want to know
because you're so red and you're so blue
when he's and
you're so white.
He should not. He should not go there.
We're told that the MPP was divided, and now you have a lovely report, 487-page report. 87-page executive summary. I would love to read it.
You won't get it.
As a united party
you will never
that
get
went
it to
into
read.
2016, as against a divided party in 2016. I would want to just compare so that going forward, politicians will learn.
But Mr. Nilante Vanderpuye, why don't you
Nilante
just...
Vanderpuye, not Mr. Nilante Vanderpuye.
Me, Mantse.
Why don't you just put all of us out of our miseries? We want to know what is in this document. Just put it out there. I mean, what have you got to lose? Do you have strategies
Let me say yes. Yes. The report borders on one, strategy, operations, and so many other issues that pertain to the evolving structure of our political party.
Why did you make the events surrounding the committee's work and the report so public then? I mean, there was a whole press briefing to hand over the executive summary, and then you gave us details.
Is that not what
if you thought it was so private and it was your personal NDC private matter, why did you invite us?
Let them put the executive summary
NDC,
online.
As we talk today, 45% of Ghanaian population, the political voters of this country, are NDC.
And you're denying them.
We have not denied them. Are you? No, is Patrick a member of the NDC?
Not 45.
In Kiev, 44.9. Round it up.
No, all right. 43.
Okay. Let me say this. Even if it is 20%, 20% of Ghanaians are so much important to us.
Don't you reach them through us?
Through you?
Yes, the media.
Oh, I see.
And they want to read.
I see. If the media is so much interested in putting out the accurate report, they will consult the party than festering this animative interest of people to put out fake reports, concocted reports out there as the NDC report. Let me say this. I was a member of the committee. I know how the report is structured. That thing going around, so yesterday I had a copy of it and I saw it. The pages where we have recommendations is different from the pages that we have.
Okay, so right now, for those of us who are not
I signed. Where was my signature in the report you have?
For those who are in the middle.
I signed our executive summary. I signed my name.
For those who are in the middle, what we've seen out there is what we've seen. We haven't seen yours, yet you are denying that what we have is authentic.
I said,
so how do we believe you?
No, but if you think that you can coerce us, induce us, use communist inferior tactics to get us to bring this thing, you are lying.
Is that how you interpret what is happening?
Yes.
It's transparency, accountability. I mean, those are ideals that you believe in as NDC.
And we are doing that because the report told us the roadmap to achieve what we are looking for in 2020.
Coincidentally,
and we were back upon
the things that you're doing as a party now in terms of reforms or as part of the what is out is the same.
Yeah, because it is in the recommendations of the executive summary.
So how is that right? And then the others not?
Listen to me carefully. The party decided certain things have to be done. So the party has formed committees to look at these various issues that have to be done, based upon the recommendations that come out. So if we are doing what the recommendation said we should do, what is your interest again? Instead of people focusing on how people are using sole sourcing to get products to fight fall army worms, sole sourcing to get a GPS system that is fake and unreliable.
No, the GPS system is fake.
Oh, please.
Like the NDC.
The GPS system that is pirated and also plagiarized. Everything.
These are strong allegations you're making.
What is it?
Me cannot prove it.
What is it?
Me cannot
These
prove
are the things that we should focus on. People are rather shifting focus of Ghanaians instead of just talking about petrol increases over the period, 45%, electricity 200%.
Shouldn't the people also be interested in the government and waiting?
This morning when I was coming, a parent has called me. The son is at Pansek.
They always call us.
Second year students have been pushed out of dormitories for free SHS students to get into the dormitories. Mosquitoes are biting them. Some of them are sick.
Which school?
Pansek. Their boxes are outside.
Well, there are so many issues. There are so many everyday issues.
These are the things that Ghanaians need to focus on.
What we're trying to tell you. So is that the committee, after you presented your reports, is dissolved, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
We've done
do we know how Mr. Kwesi Botwe feels, or Professor Kwesi Botwe, if you like, feels about all
no,
these things happening?
we've met, we've taken a decision. All of us are resolved.
You've met after the serialization, the alleged supposed fake news.
We've examined what is going out there, and we've come to a perfect conclusion that that is not our report. We've looked at what they have out there, and we've compared to our report. It's not our report. What somebody has done is just picking pieces and pieces from here.
So the committee was so sure that what is out there is fake. Yes. They met a committee that was dissolved.
Yes.
Put themselves together to come and look at what is out there again and compare it with their reports.
We need to find out what is out there, to find out whether it is true, there is any authenticity in what is being put out there. We need to, because we work as a group, as a family.
So we have a lawyer here.
Yeah.
If people are reporting, if people are attributing things to you as a party, and you say it is fake, it is not right, can they take an action?
They can take a
But they don't want to.
But what purpose will it serve?
Oh, you can restrain
Take
people.
Take FM to court.
You can restrain people from peddling falsehood against.
They should not let them. This is the issue. Do you know what we want to do? The issue is that let them continue to live in their, excuse my language, in their folly. Whilst we do what we are supposed to do, what to make our party people happy, strategize, and win elections.
Because you don't need us.
No, we don't. We're not saying we don't need you.
doesn't need a media.
We don't say we don't need
Yesterday,
you.
Kokobako
Look,
serialized it on Kokro.
What I'm saying is that
and Yabuatinjan being astonished with the revelation.
It's fake news.
Let me say this. I'm a journalist.
We live to see.
I'm a trained journalist. Let me be frank with you. The work that I'm so, don't put out there something which is not accurate and expect me to come and tell you that what we have put out there is not accurate. This is the accurate one. What you are supposed to do is to consult with me, seek my side of the issue.
And if we did, would you say anything?
Yes, if you do, you will have a response.
Can you come on the show tomorrow? Then let's talk about the reports.
Me, I don't have a problem. I will talk about the report.
Would you bring a copy of the reports?
I will not subject myself
to page 6 of today's daily guide.
You know something?
Interestingly, whilst if I tell you, Alote Jacobs, Central Regional Chairman of the NDC,
Jacobs is not a member of the committee.
Yesterday
he was not a member of the committee.
That the media publications of the report are authentic.
That is your original chairman of the committee. Yeah, I'm saying that Aseni is privy to the report, so he can tell you whether the report out there is fake or not. I'm privy to the report, so I can tell you, Alote Jacobs or Yabuatinja were not members of the committee, so they don't have the right and the privilege and the knowledge and the intellect to be able to say whether what is out there is accurate or not.
So even your own members, executive members, are not even sure.
Bani, the former president has considered that he should be blamed for the NDC's defeat.
This is where we have to end the talk segment of our show.
That is good leadership.
I want to say thank you to you, gentlemen.
He has accepted the blame as leader.
And you want to bring him back?
No, but let me. And so what?
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen, for being on the show. I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you: is former President Mahama in Kenya?
No, what I know is that he went to Liberia and then he came back. He came back in the country yesterday night.
Okay. All right. I thought he was one of the observers in Kenya this time around.
Oh, no. Right now he's come back. I wish that he doesn't travel again so that we can start preparing towards 2020 for him to come back.
Thank you very much for your time on the show. This is where we have to end it. Latse, Vanderpuye, and Patrick Kiabuama, my guest.